Good morning. Welcome to JP's Morning Brief for June 5th, 2026. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Morning Brief. So before I get started with anything, I want to breaking news. The federal government is almost fully funded for FY26, which should have been done last October 1st or September 30th, right? But it wasn't. But the reconciliation package passed before the Senate last night with a vote of 52 to 47, and now it goes back to the House of Representatives. It says Senate Republicans managed to stitch together a unified front to advance President Donald Trump's roughly $70 billion immigration enforcement package, but divisions over the president's agenda were laid bare after a marathon debate of votes, which was 5 a.m. Eastern time was when it finally passed. The passage of the budget reconciliation package geared toward funding ICE and Border Patrol for the next 3.5 years closes a long, drawn-out chapter in the Senate that began during the longest shutdown in American history. It is a point that Senate Republicans tried to return to throughout the day, reiterating the Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer and Democrats had forced their hands after refusing to fund immigration operations without a plethora of reforms. Democrats would not agree to anything, and eventually they walked away altogether, presumably because they thought that it would serve them better to have the issue for November. Senate Majority Leader John Thune said. But yeah, so, and it does not say in here, and I listened to the news over and over again this morning, but it said it goes back over to the House for reformation because, they made some changes into it and stuff. But it does not say if it was going over I went back over this again. There's nothing in it that says if they're going to try to do unanimous consent in the House, or they have to wait till Monday because the House is on vacation again with a pending bill that would come out of the Senate. Speaker Johnson let them go home. I don't understand this junk, but who knows? They may have a unanimous consent plan ready to go at the House this morning, or it may have to wait till Monday, and then it goes to the president for signature. All right? We'll get to that in the JPA report. So back to this. Welcome to the morning brief. As we get started, if you're not already a follower of my channel here, the JPA report channel, there's a bell. Click the bell. Go down. Click follow, and then give me a like for the post for the podcast for the day's episode. All right, and then if you want to get in there and chat with us, I appreciate it. That'd be great. All right, so man, that was good news. We fully funded our United States government almost, but wait, should have been done September 30th of 2025. Yeah, whole bunch of stupid there, isn't it? All right, so the armament shop. Whether you're looking for your first firearm, upgrading your setup, or need expert service, Jason at the Armament Shop is Copper's Cove's premier source for all things shooting. Browse our wide selection of pistols, rifles, and shotguns, backed by top-tier gunsmithing for repairs, along with reloading supplies and professional cleaning to keep your firearm in peak condition. Need a transfer? We make FFL transfers fast, easy, and affordable. Need your CHL? Jason can handle those classes. He has over 3 decades of experience. Visit the Armament Shop today at 115A West Avenue D in Coppers Cove, or call or text 254-560-2023, or visit www.armamentshop.com. That's www.armamentshop.com. The Armament Shop. Your safety, our priority. All right. Thank you all for that. All right. So next, Iran update. Hezbollah rejects the ceasefire that's being implemented between Israel and Lebanon. And then Hezbollah is trying to destroy a hope for peace. Okay, the hope for peace. And they just keep going at it over and over again. There's been 127 vessels that has been turned back in the Persian Gulf, 6 of which have been disabled. Oil prices have dropped. We'll get to that in just a second. The United Kingdom and France are finalizing plans for mine clearing procedures for the Strait and for the Persian Gulf. The red line, the president said the red line for the U.S. would be any Americans that are killed in action. Iran and Russia are strengthening their alliance. Hezbollah, we go back to them, has been they fired more rockets and drones into northern Israel. Iran lawmakers have asked the supreme leader, if he's alive, if he is alive, please send us his 8-digit grid so we can take care of business. They asked him to okay missiles that can reach the U.S. All right, that's really serious right there. Brent crude oil this morning, now it's trading lower at 94.81. West Texas Intermediate is at $92.59 a share. And the Dow Jones yesterday blew its top and closed up 874.86 and closed at 51,561.93. All right, that is your Iran update. Now we go to California Election Day +3. All right, I'm not kidding. Election Day, Election Day, Election Day, Election Day. So we have Tuesday, then we have Wednesday, Thursday, today's Friday. It's California +3. There was a little bit of an update last night, just a little one, but for the California governor, right now still, Steve Hilton is in first place with 27.2. Javier Becerra is at 26%, and Tom Steyer is at 20.2%. And with an overall percentage I couldn't remember, is at 59.6%. Over in the LA mayor's race, Karen Bass is still leading with 35.1. Spencer Pratt is at 29.4. And then Rahman is at 23.4 with a turn-in rate at 64% reported, 64.3% of precincts reported. Pathetic. I say it again. Pathetic. All right. So we'll get to more of that in just, we got elections in about 3 more. So next. I don't know if y'all recognize this guy. That would be me. 40 years ago today. 40 years ago tomorrow. I'm not broadcasting tomorrow. On June 6, 1986, me, James Pierce, Private James Pierce, left for basic training at Fort Dix, New Jersey. Alrighty. So I just wanted you to know that. Yep. So yeah. I'm old. I know I'm old. All right. So next. All right. So I know I gave y'all some Supreme Court rulings yesterday. Not much came out of that. There was a couple of unanimous cases and stuff, but it's all financial stuff that came out. Um, go to SCOTUS blog and read about it. They said the next Supreme Court rulings to be, Supreme Court opinions to be released will be June 11th. That'd be next Thursday. All right. And when they release those, I will have to be giving them to you on Friday, which would be today. So yeah, I didn't tell you that yesterday. There was 3 rulings released, the Supreme Court, and they all were financial related. All right. Um, one of them was dealing with cell phone carriers uh, that they lose if they decline to pay a fine, they lose their right to jury trial. I think that's what it was. All right. So next, we're talking about trials now. Breaking yesterday morning, and it was during, I can't remember. Okay, whatever. John Bolton announced yesterday that John Bolton was going to plead guilty for retaining classified information. Um, Authorities raided Bolton's home and office in August of last year, and he was officially indicted in October. That indictment charged Bolton with both transmission and retention of classified information. He is now expected to accept the plea deal with federal authorities to plead guilty to a single count of retention of classified information. Under the deal, he would be fined $2.25 million and could avoid serving any prison time. He is facing a maximum of 5 years in prison, and ultimately the sentence could be imposed by the judge. The hearing for it is June 26th, which is 3 weeks from now. And then, okay, so I'll read this 640. No, we'll go more into it at the JPA report. All right, next. California elections. Here we go. I'm in a good mood today. I got to get a CT scan at 2 o'clock Central Time at the VA, so I'm trying to keep myself psyched. All right. So, a looming U.S. Supreme Court ruling could end the seemingly endless election delay of California and other red and blue states. As the close of business Wednesday, California election officials had counted a little over half the votes cast in Tuesday's primary election for governor. It could take days, if not weeks, until the election results are final. A full day after the polls closed, which would be Wednesday. Okay, I did print this yesterday evening. Okay, but and it was filed yesterday. Steve Hilton, former Fox News host, was endorsed by President Trump, led Javier Becerra, the Biden administration's bumbling Health and Human Services Secretary, by 2 points. And then billionaire climate change cult leader Tom Steyer was in third with 19.8%, which is a little bit different than what I got listed on here. The top 2 vote getters move on to November's general election because, according to California law, no matter what the vote count is in the governor's race, always the top 2 go to November. It's not if they carry 50% plus 1, they win. In the governor's race, it always goes to November. So there, it's ridiculous that we're even entertaining this. When will we know the final tally? Who knows? As the Federalist Hayden Daniel quipped, Colombia, a mountainous country infested with drug lords guerrillas is counting its votes more efficiently than the state of California. California Exhibit A in the argument to make election day again. Thanks to the Golden State's muddled universal mail-in voting and generous grace period, 7 days, for ballots postmarked on election day to be counted. The electoral waiting game has become a frustrating way of life, not just for California voters, but for the entire representative democracy. In 2024, California's extended election day forced the country to wait more than a month to learn that the majority-minority power balance in the U.S. House of Representatives. The slow count didn't instill a lot of faith in California's election then, and confidence levels certainly won't improve with the latest debacle. A looming U.S. Supreme Court ruling could end a seemingly endless election day of California and other blue and red states. But we have all the way up into, and it deals with mail-in ballots and eligibility, okay? But like I said, the next round is June 11th, and then you got days after that, all the way up to the end of the Supreme Court session, which ends at the end of June. Right? We shall see. When I get done with here, I'm going back out to my computer and see if there was a ballot drop. And they were talking about there was going to be a huge ballot dump this morning. So we may have an answer of how screwed up the whole process is, because they've been showing for 3 days Steve Hilton in first place, Spencer Pratt in second place, and that could all be turned up on its head in a matter of just a couple more hours. Like, you go to bed and you're winning the race. You go to bed and you're winning your gubernatorial race. When you go to bed and you're winning by a good large margin, you wake up because they had a ballot drum, and now you're losing. That's the concept that they're playing with. Hold on, I'm getting set for the raid. All right, so did I do that? No, I did not. I didn't freeze. I'm just concentrating here. Okay. All right. So next, the president signed an executive order a couple months ago. It got challenged in law, right? It got heard by a U.S. District Judge Carl Nichols in a significant legal development just months before the 2026 midterms. U.S. District Judge Carl Nichols has declined to halt President Trump's executive order establishing a nationwide framework for voter eligibility verification and new restrictions on the distribution of mail-in ballots. The May 28th ruling gives the administration a temporary legal victory in its effort to strengthen election security while leaving the door open for future challenges as the policy moves closer to implementation. It'll be Executive Order 14399. It was signed on March 31st. President Trump's executive order directs the Department of Homeland Security, in coordination with the Social Security Administration, to develop state citizenship lists identifying verified U.S. citizens of voting age in each state. According to the order, the list would be compiled from federal records, including citizenship and naturalization databases, Social Security Administration information, and data from the Systematic Alien Verification Entitlements Program before being shared with state election officials. The order also instructs the U.S. Postal Service to draft regulations that would restrict the delivery absentee and mail-in ballots to individuals appearing on approved voter eligibility lists. Administration officials say the measure is intended to strengthen election security by providing an additional federal safeguard against vulnerabilities in the voting system. So it's going to be challenged, folks, in court. So we may get our hopes up, but we're going to get stepped on again. All right. So it's going to go to an appellate court. It doesn't say what appellate court is going to, where, and it doesn't say where it was mounted. Okay, we'll get to it later. All right, next. 6 Republicans voted against the White House ballroom yesterday. 6 Republicans, got to keep track of time. 6 Republicans joined with Democrats on Thursday to support the measure that would block the construction of President Trump's planned White House ballroom. But the measure needed 60 votes. It was 52 to 47. And came as part of a string of amendments called the Vote-A-Rama ahead of the main vote on reconciliation to fund ICE and Border Patrol. The final vote was 52 to 47. These are the people that voted against the White House ballroom, even though it didn't go forward. Susan Collins, which is in a fight for her life with Oyster Boy in Maine. Senator John Husted, he's in a fight against Sherrod Brown in Ohio. And we have Jerry Moran from Kentucky, Lisa Murkowski of Alaska, and then Dan Sullivan of Alaska. And then we have Tom Thumb Tillis in North Carolina, all voted to block the construction, but it failed. Okay, so still they voted against the president of something that needed to be done, and they were trying to build it, and they want to halt it. That's crazy. All right. Next. You know what? I'll read that one later. I want to get to this one. Southern Poverty Law Center. We heard a little bit about the superseding indictment yesterday, but even more came out about it. Okay, these racist jokers need to be deorganized and sent packing, some of them to jail, right? For years, the Southern Poverty Law Center worked to encourage corporations and big tech to blacklist and isolate conservatives by falsely accusing them of hate or racism, yet all the while the SPLC was allegedly paying a source to make racist online posts under its direction, according to a newly unsealed federal indictment. Oh, man. The SPLC was indicted by a federal grand jury last month for wire fraud and conspiracy to commit concealment money laundering. Prosecutors allege that the SPLC used millions of dollars received through donations to pay a covert network of individuals that were part of a violent extremist groups like the KKK. Now, the newly unsealed indictment reveals that the SPLC had a field source who was a member of the online leadership chat group that planned the 2017 Unite the Fight event in Charlottesville, Virginia, and attended the event at the direction of the SPLC. That field source, the indictment explains, made racist postings under the supervision of the SPLC and helped coordinate transportation to the event for several attendees. That field source was paid more than 270 grand between 2015 and 2023. The allegation is in stark contrast to the role SPLC has played for years, apparently leading arbiter that constitutes hate and extremism. The organization repeatedly encouraged corporations and institutions to blacklist and censor Christians and conservative groups over fake allegations that what they were doing, what the SPLC appears to have been actually doing. Yeah, yeah. Set the conservatives and Republicans up, and you do the same thing as the KKK and the Po' Boys and all these other groups, making online postings. There are conservatives that beat their head against the wall to make sure that everything that they say won't get them their strikes or shadow banned and blacklisted and on Facebook and ScrewTube and then what was Twitter. And they do their best to make sure everything's legitimate and, blood pressure going through the roof and stuff because they're afraid they're going to lose their entire livelihood. Then you got people like this bankrolling racist postings, and how did they do it in the first place? Did they get a blank check? Did the FBI or the Biden DOJ or Obama, did they go to like Facebook and tell Mark Zuckerberg, hey, this group, which is really the SPLC, is they're going to make these postings to entice people to do the same thing, to make their own racist posts? That's conspiracy. This is unbelievable. I would go to jail for doing something like that. Is that extortion or robbery? One of the two. I'm not a lawyer, okay? That's totally ridiculous. Oh my goodness, man. That is, we'll go more into that in an hour, man. And then the last thing I'll cover, and I'll go over my announcements real quick. So in Minnesota, back a few months ago, a bunch of protesters got arrested for violating the FACE Act, right? Because they breached a church during church service and intimidated the pastor and the churchgoers in that Baptist church there, right? They got arrested. A lot of them got arrested federally and locally, right? The local prosecutor said he did not have enough evidence to prosecute these people, these protesters or rioters that breached the doors of the church and sat there and intimidated the parishioners and the pastor. They said they're not going to charge them. They got away with it. Stupid. Unbelievable. What kind of society are we living in that allows something like that I forgot what the word is. See, man, I'm all psyched out right now. All right, 6:59. Okay, so let me go over this real quick. We have in 2 weeks we have Area 254 Pints and Politics. It's from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. And then on Tuesday, we have the Coppers Cove Conservative Club in Coppers Cove at Giovanni's at 6 p.m. Come on out, like-minded Republicans, right? And then back to me, back to there at 6:59. And okay, so at this time, I'm out of time. So I will see y'all in an hour. This is a turn and burn, people. This is a morning brief. All right. So I will see y'all in about an hour with the JP8 report, episode 409. And I'm going to do the raid at this time. See, 7 o'clock. And the raid didn't work. There we go. All right. Going to raid the vents. Here we go. And it's been approved. 12 seconds. Y'all have a great morning. Grab some grub. And I'll see you on an hour on the JPA report. This is James Pierce. I'll catch you on the flip side. I'm out.